Good afternoon. Once again, we are here on day 6, and it has been such a great pleasure just to, do something like this for people to see that, you can get the health that you want and desire. And we have had so many great people joining us from Sunday all the way up until this Saturday. And so now we have our registered dietitian, Miranda, and she's going to share with us what she sees as some of the issues that her clients, her patients come to her with, and offer some opportunities where we can, make some corrections in our diet and our nutrition. So, Miranda.
Right away, I want to start out with all of us have been impacted by COVID. And I see most of my clients this year and part of last year coming to me with a high level of stress. In the African American community, for some reason, this stress level has really impacted us tremendously on an even higher level than it has in the past. So most of us carry stress a different way than our counterparts, particularly women. So stress is the number one factor coming into wanting to reach your nutrition goals, is handle the stress level. You got to handle that stress part in figuring out what can you do to get rid of it. And if you cannot get rid of it, how can you combat stress? So sometimes, especially in our culture, women, again, a lot of men as well, I get that want to care for others in ways that they may not be able to. We take care of our family a little bit differently, whether it is not putting our loved ones in nursing homes or not having others care for them. We don't want that to happen. And so we want to be able to care for our loved ones ourselves. So some stress we cannot get rid of. But what we need to do in the long run, it helps our nutrition, is to combat stress. How do you do that? So combating stress in different ways. Always have every day a source or an outlet to relieve your stress if that's what you're dealing with. It can be activity. It can be I'm sleeping in a little bit longer. It can be I'm taking, 10 deep breaths. Believe it or not, those 10 deep breaths go a long way. So combating your stress first thing in the morning, if that's what you're dealing with on an ongoing basis, is so important. And it sets the tone for a lot of things correcting, even your nutrition. So I've seen that a lot. I want to say right away, right off the bat, is handle your stress level the best way that you can. If neither of those work, there is nothing wrong with seeing a counselor. I had one of my own clients tell me that I have an anxiety counselor, and I've never heard of an anxiety counselor. She said, "Oh, yes, I have an anxiety counselor I see once a month to just help me talk through some things and handle things." She sees me once a month as well. So don't be afraid to line up your team of health professionals. Line up a team of health professionals. We are so quick to do things for our outer appearance, whether it's making sure we have that hair appointment, making sure we have our nail appointment, making sure, we get the pedicure, even the massage, which is really good. But take care of your mind and take care of the stress level. So I don't know if you've seen that as well, but stress level is so important because it will impact your nutrition. So that is the first point I want to say. Should I go on to another point?
Oh, absolutely. Please do. That's what this is about, especially for our community.
Yeah. So once the stress part is handled, especially the sleep, you will find that it is so much easier to make sure that you're following the nutrition goals. I suggest, of course, and I'm not biased, I say, have a registered dietitian. You don't have to have an illness to go see a registered dietitian. Don't wait for something to go wrong. Don't wait until the blood pressure is above 120 over 80. If the doctor says, "Oh, you're borderline and it's a little above that," you need to start right away in finding out what can I do to make sure my blood pressure goal is in check. Why? Because the doctor probably does not have time to sit there and tell you all the issues that can happen with an elevated blood pressure, such as kidney disease, heart disease. You want to make sure that you're lining things up correctly. And no, it's not all about I eat too much salt. So that's not the only issue with elevated blood pressure. What I mentioned right away is going to be the foundation of a lot of issues, and that is that S word, stress. So making sure the stress level is on check can also improve your blood pressure. But improving your blood pressure and making sure that you're staying on track with keeping your blood pressure in check actually is directly related to your weight. So as we get older as well, when blood pressure is elevated or we are taking in too many of the wrong foods, sometimes they just move through us too slowly. And a lot of those foods are elevated sodium foods. You cannot eat the same way you did at 18, 19, or 20 years old. And I'm not picking on Chick-fil-A, for instance, but I will use them as an example. A 20-year-old can eat an entire Chick-fil-A meal and not be bothered. But you let a 40 or 50-year-old person eat a Chick-fil-A meal. That is enough sodium for the entire day. Let me tell you, that will stay with you the entire day as far as the sodium not moving out of your body. So we want the sodium and different minerals that are elevated to move through our body quickly. We don't want it to stay in our blood, increasing our blood pressure. So you want sodium to be moved fairly quickly through your body and not staying in your blood and elevating. So what comes along, with also making sure that this is on your must-do list for the African American community: stress, decreasing sodium. I love activity, and I do. I really like activity. I'm involved in activity of some form of fashion at least 5 to 6 days a week. And notice I did not say exercise, and I said that purposely. I said activity because there are many ways to move. And I like to say activity because people automatically that are not fans of exercise, it is a negative. So I want you to think that activity can be short and sweet and impactful. One of the things I teach in my practice is strategic exercise. When are you going to do it? It's just as important as what you're going to do. So making sure that you have a plan and getting it in any way you can be just as helpful as getting a 30, 45-minute or 1 hour in. So teaching strategic plan of exercise would include, as an example, making sure if you are diabetic or if you're trying to lose weight and not get those elevated blood sugars, that you have the timing correctly. Are you a morning person? Are you an afternoon or evening person? Or particularly with strategy, can we get it in after a certain type of meal? By now, we all know what carbohydrates are. Carbohydrates impact our blood sugars the most. And this is not just for a person that is diabetic, but it can also be for a person wanting to manage their weight or lose weight. So you want to make sure you don't have those elevated glucose numbers too high after a meal. So what do you do within 2 hours? I'll give you this one simple, it's not really a trick, but a strategy I use is to make sure that you have some sort of movement after a meal within 2 hours. Don't back away from the table. I'm done. I'm going for my walk. That's not what I mean. I mean within a 2-hour window. And that's what a diabetic would do in checking their blood sugars. And a doctor will order that or ask a patient to do that for a reason. And that is to see how elevated or where their blood sugars are after eating carbohydrate type meals. So one strategy that I know will work for weight management, weight loss, and for diabetics is to make sure you have some type of movement to move the glucose along in your blood after that meal so the blood sugars are not getting as high as they would be if you had not moved. Now think about this strategy. When is your largest meal? So we know to move after that meal. Now you got to think about what meal is the largest meal. Is it breakfast for you? Is it lunch or is it dinner? So for most of us, we want our comfort foods at night for some reason. At dinner, at 5 p.m., we've worked all day. We deserve a treat. Or on Sunday, mom's cooking a really good meal. That could be in the, afternoon. Nonetheless, we want some comfort food for whatever reason, because we may be stressed at work as well. So we want that comfort food and we want those carbohydrates in the evening. And then what do we do after that? 2 hours later, 3 hours later? We're in the lazy boy, we're in the recliner. We're taking a nap, right? So how good is this is to move after that particular meal. So you do want to move after that meal, particularly because most of us are having our favorites and our largest amount of food at that in the evening. And we are eating later these days. So think about that. How many of us are eating at 8 p.m. now? You know, we have kids in sports and they're not getting home until 7 or 7:30. So dinner may not be until 8 and may not get to bed until 11. It goes on and on and on. I hear all of these reasons, and I won't say excuses because I have been there myself. I don't think they are excuses. I have an athlete in the family as well, and I know what it's like to have dinner at 8 p.m. So what we want to do is more than often move after your largest meal. If you can't get dinner in and breakfast is your favorite, because a lot of my clients will have breakfast as their favorite meal as well, we want to move. Okay, we want to move after that breakfast meal. If you have a job at home, since COVID, a lot of us, you've got that job at home. I want to see those peddlers under that desk moving after that breakfast. I want to see you take 5 and step away from the desk every hour and move. Or you can go to YouTube and go to Deskercise. I got an answer for it. Deskercise, just put in a search on YouTube. There's plenty of videos for those that work at home at a desk. You want to make sure that you're getting that movement in after that meal. That's strategic. And I guarantee you your blood sugar will be better. It may not be where you want to be because of a short amount of time. And later that comes with my clients a little bit longer, but we can definitely work on goals, improving blood sugars and weight with a short amount of time. Now, another thing I've seen in the African-American community, more so than the others, but I will say in a lot of communities and a lot of cultures, we want to mash the gas on everything. We want to go gung-ho 100%, whether it's activity, a new diet plan. One of my mottos is the body will recognize and react upon what you do most. So if you have this plan or this short-term plan where you're working on something for just a couple of weeks or a month, it's not going to last. Oftentimes, those short plans will bring back more weight than you started with in the first place. So try to think consistency. Try to think when you're starting off with a plan, can I do this as a lifestyle change? How long can I do this? So it could be changing the way you are eating a meal. I have strategies for that. It could be that I want to include activity. Be realistic. If you have not been going to the gym every day for an hour and you start off doing that, you're going to burn out. So you want to think, what are the easiest days that I can go to the gym? And start slow and build up. Don't start out where you want to be. Start out what you can do and build up, because we can start out where we want to be and move mountains to get there, but pretty soon it may not stay there. Now, if you have the luxury and everything falls in place and you can continue, that's fine. But think about lifestyle change, because that brings a result in your life, not only just for the outer part of your body. I always say, you know, inside makes the big difference. And when I say that, I mean your organs. We want that heart to work just as long, your lungs, your kidneys, your pancreas, all your organs are a team. And we want to help that team help us live our best and longest life. So don't feel like you have to start something out and mash the gas and go 100% and then you burn out. Think about, can I do this or be doing the same thing in 5 years? So it might be making a small change that really you think is small, but it's pretty large. It might be, well, once a week, I'm not going to eat any animal source foods, any meats at all, 1 day out of a week. And it might be that you have to say 3 meals out of a week if you can't handle an entire day. By doing that, you are decreasing a large amount of fat, probably some sodium too. A lot of us eat way too much protein or too many carbohydrates in some area that is too high or elevated too high in your blood work. That can really help cutting back on whether it is red meat or meat in general, or being vegetarian 1 day a week, a few days a week. Try smaller goals like that. You don't have to have 3 or 4 or 5 going at one time, but try to make it where, you know, you say yes to the question, can I be doing this in 5 years? So those are some really go-tos right now that I would have for my clients. And my African American community is to make sure, you take care, again, the stress, take care of making sure that you combat it if you can't get rid of the stress, because hormones play a big part as well for men and women. And hormone levels are affected by your stress as well. That can impact your appetite. That can impact your cravings. Not enough rest can impact your appetite and your cravings as well. So getting the sleep, combating the stress, having strategy for activity or exercise, making sure that you don't take in too much sodium, making sure your blood pressure is on track. Those are, some simple goals to start out with. But I can think of many, many more sitting here because I do this at least 6 days a week. And a lot of my time is spent towards taking care of kidney disease for clients, diabetes, weight management, you name it. I love the entire part for nutrition. But I want to say, I think the number one thing, that I think is holding us back is the stress part right now. I do.
Well, thank you so much, Miranda. Just so many good tidbits there. I was definitely taking notes, and
Good.
What I'm hearing and getting is, like you said, the stress level that comes, and because of the stress level, it essentially dictates how we take care of ourselves. And
It
so if we
does.
can lessen our stress, get more sleep, take in less sodium and be strategic how we exercise, we can lead a healthier lifestyle.
That is a very good start. Firm believer in all of those.
Absolutely.
Don't forget your water either. That's so important. I want to say that. I want to throw that in there because I say that every session with my clients. You want to make sure at least, you get the 64 ounces, 4 water bottles in every day or more. That is so helpful in a lot of different areas too. We're over 70% water, our bodies are. So you cannot forget your water.
Well, thank you so much, Miranda. It's been such a pleasure. Like I said, I've definitely taken away some tidbits here. We have information on Miranda and her company, Nutrition Therapy Works, in the description. Please reach out to her, especially if you are someone that is suffering from chronic diseases, or if you just want to get your nutrition in check. So please reach out to Miranda.
Thank you so much. Nutritionfordiabetes.com is starting a class this Thursday. Sign up. Insurance can cover that. Most people think they need out of pocket, but there's so much that you do not know what your insurance covers. I'm starting a class as well in the next month, nutritionforkidneys.com. So go online, check that out. Your insurance could cover. I have some really good deals for 3 classes that will be starting on March 3rd.
Thank you again.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, absolutely. Again, please make sure you click on the link and check out these great classes that she'll be holding.